Welcome, everybody, to Den Excelsior, the mostly Marvel podcast. We're back after after the holidays for episode 163. Catching
Happy
up on
holidays.
we're gonna catch up on Creature Commandos and What If. A few episodes have come out of both since we've last seen you guys.
We're just calling this the mid-season review.
Yeah, it's that weird time of year where like our schedules don't make sense. Half of y'all are probably off of work. So we're just here.
We're
We're
here.
existing. Yeah.
We're just here talking about cartoons we've been watching this week.
How was your Fortnite Christmas?
My Winterfest?
Is it still going on?
Winterfest is going on until January 7th.
Oh. When did you get the free Snoop suit?
Yesterday.
Oh. Do I have to log? Do you have to do stuff for it, or I just open the box?
They gave us a special box in the middle of the room yesterday. It's probably there for you if you go check. Yeah. It was a box that wasn't there the day before. So they gave them out to everybody. I have done our friend Ian, who was on the show last time, he mentioned to us that it's become kind of a tradition of his Fortnite.
Mm-hmm.
It's very intertwined with the holidays, and I agree. I've consistently played Fortnite every winter break or whatever you want to call it for the last 3 or 4 years. 3 years, I think, because they give you a free thing every day if you log in, and so it's cool. It's fun. It's all garbage.
I was playing before they did that.
I know, and I don't care. What I'm saying is, like, for me, it's become, a tradition for the holidays. So, I've been checking in on Fortnite every day, getting my free stuff. Got some V-Bucks for Christmas. Spent them on some Batman stuff that came out, and it's cool. It's cool to like just Ready Player One it in that world.
Yeah.
And like,
I want Mariah Carey with a gun.
Our friend Clark got Mariah Carey, and he was shooting things with a gun yesterday, and it was hilarious. It's weird, my wife, Lindsay, got Jack Skellington, and she can put on the Halloween outfit or the Christmas outfit.
You can put on Jordans.
She could. She was trying out the Jordans on Optimus Prime for fun to see what that looks like. That's how ridiculous that game is, dude. It's so ridiculous. So that's probably been one of the highlights of the week. Is just like every morning we just turn on the PS5 and just like go in there just to open a present. It's cool. It's something fun. Also, the Epic Store has been giving me a free game every day. So I got Control yesterday. I got Free Runner today. So. I've been nerding out on like nerdy stuff this week, just like games and watching, Christmas movies that are less than typical sometimes. And just trying to really relax. I got Balatro yesterday.
Dude, I've been playing. I was gonna talk about it because I didn't know you were playing it, but I got that game like a month ago when it came out on mobile. And after playing 5 minutes, I was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't understand it. I don't really know how to play poker. I understand the basics, but like the hand configurations don't make sense to me. I really don't like roguelikes at all. Or I don't have the patience to sit through them. So like I know everyone was talking about what are the Hades a few years ago.
Oh, Hades.
I bought that game like twice. I have it on PS4 and Switch. Not played more than 10 minutes of it. So anyways, Balatro, right? Balatro or
Balatro.
Every year I listen to the Giant Bomb Game of the Year discussion. So giantbomb.com, they do a Game of the Year podcast. They do like, it's a 4-day Game of the Year podcast, and each episode's like 3 hours long. And they get in some heated debates, and Balatro came up a lot again. So I'm like, well, shit, let me just try it out. I already paid for it.
What do you mean again? It was nominated for Game of the Year this year.
Well, I like it. The game got reintroduced into
your life. Gotcha.
Into my life, and I already have it, and that just basically took over my Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then like my whole week. Every minute I get, I'm like, Balatro.
So do you like roguelikes now?
I like that game a lot.
Yeah.
I think they, at least for me, I saw the mechanics were they're a little overcomplicated, but like for me, I just started focusing on like, all right, let's just try to improve my deck.
Yeah.
And then let's start doing tarot cards. And then this run, let's start doing the multipliers. And then now that I have a better grasp of all the systems, that game gets bananas.
Yes. I will say this is, and I'm not trying to insult any of the games this year. I mean, it's
Mhm.
kind of, it's going to be an insult for sure. This was a rough game, or a rough year for Game of the Year contenders. Like it
You don't
was.
think Astrobot?
I think it's fine. That is your description of most or most movies that we talk about on this show. I think it's fine.
Fine. Yeah,
I
it's a well-made game.
I
Yeah.
think if you were to compare Astrobot to Baldur's Gate 3 from last year, the winner,
Mhm.
it's not even close. Just not even close.
That's fair.
And
I
so
think,
I think that's what I'm saying is like if you were to compare Marvel Snap to Balatro, I
mhm.
don't think it's even close. But I do think that they're
Was that
good
2 years ago?
games. Marvel Snap was 2 years ago, I think, the where it won best mobile game. Yeah.
I think we're in a cool place where so Snap, I don't think you ever played Vampire Survivors.
No.
It's not a mobile game, but all I've ever played it was on mobile. It's a good mobile game, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like it's neat to have these mobile experiences or these Game of the Year experiences on my phone, I guess is a better way to put it.
Yeah, for sure. I like having games on my phone for sure. Like especially like,
Are
I'm
you
trying
playing
to
it on the
weed.
PC?
No, I'm playing it on my phone.
Oh.
I wanted a phone game because I've been in withdrawal since Snap, and also I got to get prepared for the fact that TikTok's going to go away soon. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
trying to fill that toilet time with something new.
Oh,
So
Balatro, you can get some good runs in.
I know, Ricky. As a reminder,
Have you beaten it yet?
I got it. Yes.
Okay.
I got it yesterday and I beat it yesterday.
Nice.
And by beat it, you mean just like
Complete a run.
complete a run and then get to endless mode, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I played it yesterday. I beat it yesterday. It's a great game. It's really fun. I don't find it as addictive as other games that I play, but I do find it quite entertaining. And so yeah, no, I'm happy. Like everything you described, your process about trying to figure out how to make yourself like it.
Mhm.
That is my experience with Hades as well. You gotta like actually try, but once you try, it gets so satisfying. So just to be clear, I still think
Mhm.
Hades is way better than Balatro,
Mhm.
like way better. Because the cool thing about Hades is there's new story every time you do your run. So in addition to just doing another run to see how good you can get to it, you actually unlock story
I
in
think
like
that's
there's
why I like Balatro more. Because there's no story. It's just fucking cards.
that's fair. I'm just
And
saying you don't have to do
yeah.
the story in that game too, but I'm
Yeah.
saying if you want story, you get a little bit extra of it, you know what I mean? So like I will say that's the cool thing about Balatro is there's no so most roguelikes have two phases. They
Mhm.
have the in-game, like the run, the run itself, whatever that
Yeah.
happens to be, and then they have the outside part, the part where you're managing all your new bonuses and stuff like that. And I
Mhm.
think that's the part Balatro doesn't have. You don't really do a lot outside of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's mostly
Well,
just all
each
inside
run
the
is
game.
its own existing thing,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
But there's like the permanent increases you get them during your runs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah, they
like they
don't
don't,
stick.
yeah, they like you don't. So like usually in most roguelikes, the outer
You
part of the
keep a
game,
thing.
you find you have points that you go and
Mhm.
spend to improve your general performance, and then like so,
Yeah,
yeah, they
you get like the gold weapon that lasts you a little longer.
yeah. So this one they just found a way to internalize the entire game within the runs itself.
Mhm.
So you just it's bite-sized, gaming. I mean, sometimes the bite size can go several hours for sure. Like but you know what I mean? Like it's still self-contained and maybe that's to its detriment. maybe people love it that way. But I do love that I can turn it off and resume whenever I want because it's not an online game. That's my favorite part about it. Yeah. So, well, I'm glad we could talk about Balatro because I'm happy you gave it another chance. That's really cool that you did that because I think that's like honestly, I've been wanting to get it for a while now, but I have a general rule. I don't buy anything for myself until after Christmas for like a month because people always complain about not knowing when to get me. So that's why I didn't buy Balatro.
I appreciate also, what is it, like $10-15?
Oh, mine was $7.
Okay.
It's $10 on the Play Store, but I had a $3 coupon.
But it's you buy it, you pay the 10, and there's no ads,
and that's it. It's done. It's done.
There is like a Balatro Plus on Apple Arcade. I think gives you one more thing, but whatever. The regular ones,
okay,
fine. $10, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm gonna keep playing it.
I got it for $7, so I'm super happy.
Great $7 game.
It's excellent. Yes, I'm glad. I'm glad that we should share our runs with each other at some point. Our strategies.
Oh, send me your seeds.
I have not been saving my seeds. Sorry, I don't save seeds. Like it's like
I don't either, but it's cool that that is in there.
Yeah. Well, it's a roguelike thing for sure. God, I really would love you to play Hades though. That would be like sometimes I get the itch. Like yesterday playing Balatro, I got the itch for Hades.
I might. Now that you might convince me.
It's pretty great, dude. It's one of the best roguelikes ever made. Let us know what you think in the comments if you agree or disagree. But other than that, what else have you been nerding out
on? Well, I know it's sports, but did you catch any of the Netflix football yesterday?
I did not.
It was kind of crazy. So Netflix bought the rights to the 2 games on Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And as part of it, they created essentially their own Super Bowl. Like they brought in their own announcers, their whole presentation. The Beyonce halftime show was insane. And I'm watching this thing and it's like, it's insane that no one's done it before.
Yeah.
And it was just for me really fascinating to see like this basically Super Bowl level production to even a grander scale on Netflix. Like it's kind of wild. Like they had cut-ins to different Netflix comedians or actors to promote whatever Netflix thing that they got going on.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cool. It's super scummy marketing to the nth degree, but it's also it's pretty wild to see.
That reminds me of the Jake Paul Tyson fight.
You watched that?
I did watch that.
Okay. It was like that, but with the Beyonce halftime show.
I felt gross watching that. I really, really did.
Well, that wasn't I felt gross for other reasons. That fight was that was sad.
I also didn't like the part where Netflix like totally filmed Mike Tyson's ass.
I think that was the best part.
I'm not saying that wasn't the best part, but I'm saying like I feel gross about that because I don't know that he approved that.
They filmed his ass and then posted about it.
They did.
Like 10 minutes later.
They did. Yes.
God, what else? What has my week been aside from that? Still running through Parks and Rec, and that's about it. Pretty much.
I did a rewatch of the Guardians holiday special.
Oh, I'm happy for you.
I
already forgot that existed. That 1 or 2 years ago? Is that last year?
It was 2 years ago. Rain, 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 rain. Dear, 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 dear.
That band.
I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. That is one of the best Christmas songs ever made. It just is. I'm sorry. No, rewatching that just filled me with so much joy and hope for something else that came out in the week we took off.
Is that our segue?
I think it is.
let me get it ready. Sorry.
Well, we can just talk about it first and then do news afterwards. It's fine.
I mean, all right.
I'm just talking about that Superman teaser, man.
that Superman teaser. Last Wednesday, last Thursday, Superman trailer came out.
I think it was last Thursday, and I was so excited. We were gonna do a show. I was like, let's do this. But I think I had a class or something. Yeah. That teaser was almost perfection for me.
All right. Did the John Williams music bother you?
Yes, that was the part where I said almost.
Why?
Because I think we really, really need to get away from it. I think it's really important that we can establish different.
I mean, it was a little more synthy take on it.
Yeah, but here's my thing though. If you're gonna allow a director to come in and put their stamp on their version of Superman, and a writer is going to do that, and the makeup artists and the wardrobe people, everybody's going to do their version of Superman, right? How come you don't let the music people do their version of it too?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Let me counter. What if it's done in a style similar to Spider-Man's theme in the MCU?
But I think Spider-Man's theme is very different from the previous Spider-Man movies that we've gotten.
But it harkens back to the theme song, though.
To the old cartoon, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. But like, I don't want that to be Spider-Man's theme forever. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we got that music again in Justice League, right? When they were like trying to write things. They were trying to fix it. They were getting desperate, right? They tried to fix it. And then we got it again in the Flash. You know what I mean? Like,
you got a lot of it in the Flash.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's come on, man. Let's get away from it.
I see the value in keeping it, but I do kind of agree with you. I wish they would have changed it, especially coming off of like, and not to say like the Fantastic Four has like an iconic theme, but the clips of their new theme song for the movie is like amazing. It's very thoughtful, it's creative. Was it Michael
Giacchino?
Giacchino, yeah. It has beats of 4, and then you have the choir in there, right? Like it's a pretty well thought out, put together, badass theme song, and then you just play the greatest hits for Superman.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like, I think as a teaser, it's very effective at getting you excited for Superman, right? And I think that music helps do that. I just really hope that music is just being used for the teaser and is not part of the movie. You know what I mean? Like, because I think I expect better musically from James Gunn than just rehashing some old stuff, you know? So,
well, he said he has gone on, because they did a big press day when this teaser came out, that this is a score heavy movie, not necessarily a soundtrack movie as a lot of his previous works are.
That's
whatever
fine.
that means.
I'm fine with that too. I just really want it to be. I want it to be new. Like, because think about it. Like,
I mean, everything else in that trailer looks new and fresh, right?
Exactly. Which is why I did say almost perfect. Now we're going back on the perfect part. I loved everything about that trailer. I just didn't like listening to it. That's all. That's the only part.
Put on mute.
Yeah. But oh my God, like watching Superman save a child from whatever it was. I don't care what it was he was saving it from. I just want to see my heroes being heroic, and I just love it. And I love the bright colors so damn much. And I love just how optimistic I felt watching him. Even when he gets a can thrown at his head, I still felt optimistic.
He's playing with all the other toys.
Oh God, he's playing with the toys so well.
You got a Hawk Girl in there. You got what are the Metamorpho?
Yep.
Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Some Lex Luthor. The Engineer's in there for a second. Ultraman's in there. Crypto's in there.
Lois, Cat Grant. There's so much good in that trailer. And honestly, the Daily Bugle or the Daily Planet looked a hell of a lot like it did in the old cartoon too. Like the the 90s cartoon. Like it
Mhm.
just, yeah, it's chef's kiss to that teaser. And I was laughing the day before it came out because James Gunn was on TikTok letting people know that tomorrow the teaser's coming out, and then they were showing like a scene from the teaser, and I'm like, are you teasing the teaser? This is ridiculous. Like this is out of control. But
I
when it
think
came
that's
out,
warranted though, right? I mean,
but when
it's
it
a
came
big.
out the next day, yeah, it was like what it. I think it's hit like 250 million views.
Mhm.
It's like the most watched DC trailer ever. They deserve it.
Kind of
It's
bummed that
so good.
we don't get a Comic Con with it. It comes out like 2 weeks before.
That's okay. Let it be for everyone.
Mm.
Let it be for everyone.
We get a Fantastic Four Comic Con though.
We do. We do.
I like the trailer. It got me excited. It got me excited to see Superman again. I'm happy to learn more about these characters that I really don't know about, like the other heroes.
And crypto.
And Crypto. I'm happy for other people to start learning about the other characters plus Crypto.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me Justice League Unlimited vibes, the cartoon.
Good.
Now, I mean, that show was the epitome of toys playing together, right?
That show
had
is
everybody.
fantastic. Like that is one of the best like toy bashing like team up shows ever made. And it's such that show finally found its groove because like the difference, do you know the difference between Justice League and Justice League Unlimited?
More heroes.
Not just more heroes. So like Justice League, they really tried to do like long form storytelling where it was like every
Like
two
arcs.
episodes. Yeah, every
Mhm.
2 episodes was a story, so they were basically hour-long stories.
Mhm.
And they were trying to include a lot of members of the like usually it was most of the Justice League together doing stuff. You know, sometimes it would break off and it'd be like 3 or 4 of them or whatever, but it was a lot of them. But Unlimited is when they opened up and they brought in more members besides the 7. And so every episode was its own story, and it was usually like a core member with like 1 or 2 like new characters, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so you just get to learn more, you get to meet more characters, and it's less about like the growth of like the
You see them
original.
working, like they're working, they're doing
Yeah.
missions.
Yeah. But you're getting to meet more
Mhm.
characters, right? Like, and that's why I think it's cool that you said it feels like Unlimited, because that's what Unlimited feels like is just here. We're going to focus on Superman, but we're also going to let you meet a few other characters along the way that are going to help out and stuff, you know?
I didn't realize, and this is a side tangent, are Hawk Girl's wings, they're not real.
It depends. It depends on the so just to be clear, Hawk Girl, do you know the story of Hawk Girl and Hawkman?
I know they're not related, right?
Well, they are in a way, in that they're star-crossed lovers.
Hawk Girl though is like has the descendant of
They're
some
lovers. They're both
Mhm.
lovers. And so the way it works is their souls are intertwined,
Mhm.
and every time they die, they are reincarnated as a different version of Hawk Girl and Hawkman.
Mhm.
So some have been Thanagarian, which is an alien race of people with wings. They're born with
Mhm.
wings. And then there's other times where they've been humans, like archaeologists or whatever, that have discovered like superpowers, like from Egypt or whatever,
Mhm.
that imbued them with like magical wings or something like that. You know what I mean? So like, I can't answer your question because I don't know which version we're working with. You know what I mean? But like,
Mhm.
sometimes they're real, sometimes they're magic, sometimes they're something else. You know what I mean? Like,
Alright.
yeah, it's just, it gets all it's but that's kind of part of the weird wacky fun of the Hawk Girl Hawkman characters. Like it's a big pill to swallow, you know what I mean? But like, but here's the thing though, you've already at this point swallowed Superman and Crypto as a pill, you know what I mean? So like at some point you just gotta just be like,
They rip
okay.
that trailer, for to your point, is doing a lot of weird heavy lifting for that universe.
Yeah.
So that you're already kind of primed for the the weird shit that can be DC.
Yeah, and my favorite part about that trailer is it's weeding out the chaff, right? Like it's saying everybody who's drawing the line at that trailer and saying, "Nah, that looks stupid, bro." I'm like, "Cool. Bye." Because I don't want you in this anymore. If you're gonna be salty about the things you saw in that trailer, you have not read these comics, and it's not for you, man. And it's okay. It's okay if this one's not for you. I am so excited because this one feels like it was finally written by somebody. Do you understand how wacky that is? To finally have a Superman movie that was written by somebody who understands the Superman comic books? That's nuts. Dude, it's 2024 and we're finally getting that. We're about to be 2025. And this is going to be the first time. Like, don't get me wrong. I think the Richard Donner movies back in the day, they were really cool. But the amount of reading they had to do for Superman back then, or they did, was pretty bare minimum. Like,
I wonder, are we going to get to this point with, when we're in our old age, like with Spider-Man? Because I don't think people talk about it enough, as where there's so much Superman to pull from. It's like it's literally like 100 years of Superman.
It's 90.
90.
Yeah.
Where like there's less with let's say a Spider-Man, there's less with an X-Men.
Well, I don't know that there's necessarily less. Because I will tell you this, Spidey has a lot of comics. Like, he has, at any given time, usually 2 or 3 comics on shelves at the same time.
But they're all different.
Yeah, but they're all more stories to pull from. And so I'm saying, like, I don't know. I know Superman's been around for a lot longer, but I don't know that he had like
more stories.
More, yeah. I don't know how many issues they were selling a month, of Superman comics and stuff like that. So who knows? I could be wrong. It's like mathematically, he probably has more comics than Spider-Man, but I don't think that necessarily means that he has more good comics than Spider-Man. I think there's an entire World War II era of comic books we probably want to avoid. I've seen some very inappropriate comic book covers featuring Superman from the older periods. And so, it's the same with Marvel. Marvel mostly takes from the last 25 years of their comics when they're adapting stories nowadays. They really aren't pulling a lot of stuff from like the super old pre-2000s comic books, and that's fine.
We're not getting the Wizard anytime soon. I mean, we did get him in Jessica Jones.
Yeah, we did get the Wizard already. So just revoked. We got him. But I mean, there is a version. There's been versions of these things in more contemporary times, and I think that's what we're pulling from a lot nowadays. And I'm okay with that because it took several reboots to get the stories right. You know what I mean? Like Batman used to murder, and maybe that wasn't the best thing that Batman should have been doing, right? And I think it takes a little bit of retconning before they're like, nope, I never murder. And we're like, okay, sure. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like we need to have a new universes in order to get the storytelling just right sometimes. And so, I mean, we're almost there with Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, he's almost the Spider-Man that everybody wants. So he's one retcon away from being that Spider-Man. So it's fine. Yeah. But do you want to do the news now since we just blew our wad on Superman?
I mean, we got one. I think it's all related. We got one bit of news. So while James Gunn was doing the press for the trailer, another update for the Clayface movie that got announced like 2 weeks ago. That is going to be the I believe the 3rd DCE movie. Supergirl's starting to film like next month. And then it'll be Clayface, and that will be taking place, in the DCEU, which, funny enough, we got introduced to Clayface this week today in Creature Commandos. So it's how does it feel knowing that Clayface that we saw is going to be getting a movie?
I think the only reason I'm not super mad that the 3rd movie in the run is Clayface is because Mike Flanagan's doing it. and because apparently he banged out something so fast that everybody was so impressed by it, they're like, sure, greenlit, go. That's cool. You know, like I like when artists can support artists like that and recognize the effort that went into it. And sometimes you know, they just crank out like good. Peacemaker was written over COVID, well, I mean, by COVID I mean like a week. It was written over a week during the lockdown, and it's awesome for that. You know what I mean? Like it's like he had nothing else to do. So if Mike Flanagan was in one of those moods and just felt like writing the Clayface story and it happens to be great, then I want to support that, because like I don't want us to get into the toxic behavior that we are in Marvel now, where we feel that every single thing has to matter to a bigger story and I need to be able to understand how it matters. I don't want that. I would rather let DC organically come together. And so if they have just fun stories to tell that exist in the DC universe, and then one day they might come together, that's cool. Let me take it in that way, because I think after Avengers, we've been so spoiled that we constantly demand to understand how it all fits together. You know what I mean? And that's
Well,
not
yeah, I
that's
mean,
not fair.
we
That's
were
not fair to
trained to
the
do
art.
that.
But it's not fair to the art, right? Some people are just trying to make art, and don't get me wrong, sometimes their art sucks.
I mean, that's what Edgar Wright was trying to do, but
right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, well, I'm not saying Echo sucks, by the way. I'm saying
no, I said Edgar Wright, not.
Oh yes, Edgar Wright. I thought you said Echo.
No,
you're
Echo's
right.
Great. Yeah,
you're right though. Edgar Wright was trying to make art, and it kind of got stepped on a lot, right? And because we were supporting the stepping on him too. We were like, yeah, but look how Falcon shows up, and now it makes more sense. You know what I mean? Like but it's truthfully, like I
don't want to be in America now.
I don't want to be in a position where I'm upset at Mike Flanagan because he wrote a nice story about Clayface and it doesn't give any lead in to Batman or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Like, I think you can have both if done well. Because like the inverse of that, right, is Falcon's a great example, right? We got a Sam Wilson introduction, and we are now seeing we've gone through his whole arc to get him to a Captain America. That's kind of cool on its own merit, right? Like
he wasn't introduced in Ant-Man though.
No, but he was introduced in a Cap movie.
Yes.
He existed as Falcon for a hot minute.
Yes.
He was a hero. It's not like he was heroing as the Falcon for a while.
Yes.
And then you get the whole arc of him becoming Cap, and then you see him dealing with it becoming Cap, and now we're getting to see him actually become Cap. So
yes.
I do appreciate the inverse of that. But to your point, if some of the Disney Plus shows, I'm not to throw like She-Hulk or anyone like example, like it exists in its own bubble for the most part. Granted, there's a Hulk in the middle of that, but it's neat to see what's happening on the other side of the world, right?
Yes. I I'll never knock the intent of Joker. I like the idea of exploring a character in vacuum.
You're talking the Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yeah. I'm talking about the movie, The Joker. I applaud the attempt. I do. I don't like the execution of it, right? And I think I don't ever want to sit here and say creators should just stay in their lane and just do things this way, blah blah blah. No. I like seeing exploratory, art and
Todd
doing
Phillips, just stick to The Hangover.
No, but I do really want to see a Clayface movie, and I didn't know that I wanted to 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So yeah, let me see a Clayface movie, and let me see the one that we saw in Creature Commandos, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. If the story is good and there's an emotional hook to it, I already know the special effects are going to be fun. So yeah, let's do it. Just, hopefully one day he actually fights Batman. One day, but I don't need to see it in that, you know what I mean?
You want to be ready when you fight Batman.
Yeah. I'm
All
saying let's not do a Craven or a Madam Web where there's no chance of this actually happening anymore. That's dumb. But yeah, tell your Clayface story. Let's go.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what we're gonna talk about.
Excellent segue. I loved it.
You want to start with what if?
Sure. You know what? What if?
What are
Season
we,
3.
5 episodes into what if right now?
We are officially 5 episodes in after 5 days in a row of Disney Plus dropping an episode on us.
And there's 6 more remaining?
No, there's 3 more remaining.
3 more remaining.
Yeah, every season of What If has been 8 episodes, I believe. And was it 8 or 9? Yeah, I think it was the first season was supposed to be 9 episodes, right? Something like that. But yeah, since last year they just started doing this thing where they just drop them all during the Christmas week as a little present to us. Last year we actually had Christmas themed episode. That was a Die Hard themed episode also. It's a little much. It was a little much for us. But I think that season was kind of a big meh for us. Like it was okay, right? It was fun. We got Kaori, which is a new character. I thought that was bold of them to try and do that. And then they had a big story arc that ended with, it was a Captain Carter story arc, right? Where she got to come full circle and save the universe and stuff like that. And I think this season has been nice enough to us to not loop Captain Carter back in again. But I think also the seams are starting to show on this universe, right? This experiment is falling apart a bit as a show. And I think it's because they're trying really hard to expand it to all the new characters. But I think the problem is that the live action version of those those characters haven't quite fully been developed yet. So I think we're trying to lean on characters that are barely in the social consciousness right now. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? What I'm saying? I think that the fun of What If season 1 was we know the Avengers, right? We know them really well.
We know the arcs of the people they're what ifing.
We know the arcs, and we know why when they tell us, well, here's the what if, and they explain, here's this one thing that changed differently, right? We understand how logically the progression occurred, right? But what if season 3, episode 1, we are watching mecha Avengers that we don't really even recognize fight a freaking Gojira-sized Hulk. And I'm like, what? I think we missed some steps here, guys.
The show works better when there's only, I don't know, it sounds confusing.
One or two divergence.
Yes, when there's only one what if applied to the story.
Yes.
And I feel like this season we're just what if this, then this, and this, but this also too, and then this also happens.
The one wacky one I give a buy to, and we can talk about each of these in order if you want, but the one wacky one that I do give a buy to is the Howard the Duck one, because it's actually a continuation of a previous what if we got. I don't
love that either.
I like that episode. I mean, if we're gonna let Captain Carter get her story continued, do you know what I mean? I think it's okay to let that happen. But at the same time, I do know that What If the comic has done that before, where they'll revisit a story that was really popular and they'll do more of it. You know what I mean? That's like Spider Woman Mayday Parker, I believe, was originally introduced in a What If story, and people liked it so much they're like, could you tell us more about this universe? And then we get more of it and stuff. So I'm fine with that. Like, that's cool, but I think I'm just being an old man, and I think a lot of the other episodes were just like, I just felt like, get off my lawn. Like, it's that's how I felt about many of them. But we can go through them, and I can get your take on how you felt
Yeah,
about
you
each of
can
the
go, you can
episodes.
run through them.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna do the quick 1-sentence summary of each of these, so we can have a dialogue about these. So here we go. Season 3, episode 1 aired on the 22nd. What if the Hulk fought the Mech Avengers? A new team of Mech Avengers battle and accidentally enhance Hulk. How you feel about this one, Ricky?
The Hulkbuster suits, I really did not like. The mech part of the episode I didn't like. I actually did enjoy the Hulk part of the story.
I feel you.
The Hulk part of the story was interesting, but I think it just, like, again, the what if on top of what ifs, like, I my issue probably is with the mechs. The mechs really don't belong in that story, and it would have made more sense if they were like, I would have allowed more Hulkbuster looking Hulkbusters, if that makes sense.
I just felt like, honestly, like, do you know how freaking powerful Captain Marvel is? Why she
Yeah.
need a mech? Why she need a mech? Like,
that part of it's weird. But even just like, why do I need a mech for Captain America that does Captain America's? Like, that, to me, that logic just breaks.
yeah.
Like, just
It,
give me a Hulkbuster with the color scheme. That's cool.
yeah. It's trying to do something that's a tribute to, like, the Japanese style of like stories. I forget what those specifically are called, but the kaiju stories and
Kaiju
stuff,
story.
and but also, like, the super mech robot stories that occur in those two, like the Power Rangers and all
Because,
that,
like,
Voltron and everything.
again, the Hulk part, I thought
Super
they
Sentai is the formula. Like, Super Sentai is like when it's a team of people piloting
yeah,
robots and they come together to fight a big
Power
monster.
Rangers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Power Rangers, Voltron, lots of other ones.
Even the Sam Wilson stuff in that episode, I think, is great. Like, you see him, you kind of get the sense that he goes too far down the Captain America lane and forgets what makes him special. And he's a therapist.
Yeah,
And he heals with his words.
yeah.
And that was cool.
I think that was the best part of that episode, and I think it was muddled down by the fact that they wanted to impress
By
you with their
Moon Knight
brand.
mech.
Yeah, they wanted to impress you with their brand new Avengers, and I just felt like those Avengers weren't earned, right? Like, I was like, I don't want to meet these Avengers the first time in What If. I don't want to meet Shang-Chi and Moon Knight and I forget who else was in their Avengers, but I was like, not like this. I want to meet them in live action the first time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I want to see them come together and understand how they come together. And so maybe this episode will age better in like 5 years. You know what I mean? Maybe 5 years from now, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's pretty fun. But right now, I just felt like the Sam and the banner of the story got watered down by all these other like amazing actors that are just like in it for like 5 seconds. And it's just like, they didn't need to be
It's
there.
dumb. Like, let
Yeah.
me go even further. Like, okay, they're in their mechs. Shouldn't they have, like, all mech suits? Like,
I know.
they're wearing Moon Knight's wearing his
Regular
Moon Knight
Moon Knight.
shit. Like, what the?
I know. It is a most ridiculous episode by far of the whole series, I would say. Like, is that safe to say?
No, I think the 4th episode of the season is, but continue.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, episode 2. What if Agatha went to Hollywood? Hollywood film star Agatha Harkness as a new co-star in Howard Stark's first production. What do you think of this one?
It was fun to see the Eternals get some love.
Kingo being the other
Kingo
co-star.
being the other co-star. I don't know how I feel about this one. I I think it's the most what if out of all of them, right?
I think
they
this
don't
one was
overreach or overextend. I feel
right.
like
I think this was the best episode so far of the season, and I think it was because I was able to follow the through line of how they got there. You know what I mean? It was, you could see how it was what if, right? It was Agatha found out about the Eternals, and she devised a plan that would help her get the power of Tiamat, right? And that forced Howard Stark to switch his business focus in a different direction. You know, like I could see the paths that branched out because of her one decision. And that's what made this episode easier for me to enjoy. But also, Catherine Hahn's just an amazing actress and voice actress. You know what I mean? So she sold it the whole way through, and so did Kumail Nanjiani.
I think for that one, the spectacle of like the dances, I think slightly overstayed their welcome, and I didn't love
dancing bums, like Bollywood dancing loses everything, every bit of charm it has when it's animated.
Yeah,
especially when it's computer animated. If it was hand drawn, still really impressive. You know what I mean? But something about knowing that you could just copy and paste all of those people, like, and make them all dance perfectly like a robot. You know, like it lost everything to me. Like the dances meant nothing, and it was sad because I was like, if this was live action, I would be so impressed right now. So I feel you. I'm right on the same page with you. Just because it's my favorite episode doesn't mean it's not flawed. It's very flawed.
I didn't love the take on Howard Stark either. I mean, I thought it
point for me.
A little too Hollywood. Because even in the movies when we see him at that age, or what is it in Agent Carter as well, he's not that eccentric. Like
I mean, I don't think he's that eccentric in this either. I think he's just rich and wants to try. He's just goes all in on whatever he tries. I didn't get a lot of eccentric vibes from him in this one, but I mean, it was still the same actor, so like I felt like I trusted him to carry us with that character, and same with Jarvis, same actor that played him in Agent Carter. So yeah, I liked both of them. But they weren't the main focus of the story, and I appreciated that. We were a little confused canonically because I never seen Agatha steal someone's powers and then use their exact powers. I thought it was more like she steals their powers for like battery purposes. So it was weird to see her using.
Have powers, or are they just?
Yeah, they do. Each Eternal has a power,
but they're robots. So like, could Agatha take the powers from like Vision?
We got into some weird gray areas there with Agatha's power, but I give that one a thumbs up though. Like in the grand scheme,
it's a better one of the season for sure.
Like you said, like I love seeing the Eternals get some love, and I really enjoy
that movie. Ages very well.
I love that movie, dude. I really do. I'm so sad that this is the way we get it right now.
We got Captain America's in a month, 2 months. And they're picking up some of those threads. Not saying the Eternals are in it, but we're getting primed for them to come back in some form or way.
I want them to come back because I know they ain't getting a movie anytime soon. I want them back. I miss them. I really do. Makari's still the best Flash on screen, like live action Flash, by far. Like she's so good. And I know she doesn't run as fast as him, but I'm saying the visualization of it on screen was fun. Not like, every time we've seen a Zack Snyder Flash. It's terrible. All right, next up. What if the Red Guardians stop the Winter Soldier?
Oh,
wait, let me read the Red Guardian interferes with the Winter Soldier's mission to kill Howard Stark.
I liked Goliath in this episode. It's cool it's kind of funny that that's like the only way we're getting a Goliath now in this universe is the what if.
I mean,
Um,
that's how we just talked about the Eternals like that too. So
but
same div.
yeah, the red Guardian, man, his stock just goes down for me after this episode. Like it's just too much. It's too much. Like he's
kind of better as Frankenstein, isn't he?
he's definitely better as Frankenstein, but there's no every other thing's like a joke on communism. That's not the lean whatever political way you want to take it, but it's just like it's such a one note character,
I
and
think
that's not.
you take his daughters away from him, and he's just a joke. And
Yeah,
I think that's kind of that's hard because Bucky is still awesome all the time. You could take away Steve, you could take away Sam, and Bucky's still cool. And so like what are they doing with the Red Guardian that makes him not cool now? You know what I mean? And it's they're writing him as a cartoon character, and that kind of, it's unfortunate. I do see the through line in this story though. Like I do see, how easy
it has a
it could have
beginning,
been.
middle, and end, right?
Yes.
But it's just so like the Red Guardian is, granted, he's being phased out, but he's like Russia's greatest asset, right? He's a super spy, sin superhero.
Yeah.
But then like you see him just be a total like buffoon in this episode.
Yeah.
But then he just switches, like when he needs to go in disguise as an American, like he has this perfect American accent, like he's on point.
Bob Toledo.
Like, yeah, it's like what the fuck is? I don't know what to think of you.
Yeah, I agree. I do feel like when we talk about him, I feel like we sound like bros talking about how angry they are about Thor and Ragnarok and Love and Thunder. But I do kind of see it at the same time.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. Season 3, episode 4. What if Howard the Duck got hitched? While on vacation, Howard the Duck and Darcy Lewis face dangerous factions from across the galaxy. I will tell you this right up front. I read that description before I watched the episode, and I groaned so hard. I was like, why do we have to keep doing Darcy stories so much? But I will tell you this. After I watched the episode, I was like, not bad, guys. Not bad. I kind of love this one. I do. I don't love it more than the Kingo and Agatha one, but I do appreciate the comedic approach to the larger Marvel universe. And they folded in all the crazy that we've ever been exposed to, right? Like all of it. Minus maybe Ego, but we got our fair share of Ego last season too, right? Like Ego was in like more than one episode last season, right?
He's in one. He's like in the first one.
Okay, fair enough. I thought there was like a little bit of Ego in another one. Anyways, this episode treats you to the Dark Elves, Zeus, the Skrull, Shield, Thanos and his Black Order. I'm not sure. Were the Kree in it too? I'm not sure about the Kree. It's basically
They're all in it.
Everything is in this. Oh, the Caecilius and Dormammu's cult. It was so much stuff, and all because of an egg that these two created by, falling in love and making a baby.
Yeah, cloacas.
Yes, cloacas, I guess. Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing Jeff Goldblum.
That wasn't Jeff Goldblum.
I know it wasn't. That made it worse.
Oh,
nothing's worse. Like
it was Matt Friend. He's like a famous impersonator that does. I think he does a really good Jeff Goldblum.
It's bad. It's not bad that it's not a bad impersonation. It's like you can tell it's not him, and just for me that breaks everything. And also, it's too much of him. It's too much of him. I don't love. I like Jeff Goldblum in doses, and I think I'm ready for him not to be in the MCU anymore. It was
I
just
really
too silly. I don't need a sequel to the joke episode from 2 seasons ago. Like for me, the most interesting part of that episode was like the one line where they're like, "Yeah, after Thor visited, more people just stayed, so like that advanced our society." That was cool.
I think that's my
And
favorite part of this episode, which is why I was down with everything else. Because like Shield becomes an intergalactic agency, right? Like
yeah,
they have to be on top of it. Like I mean, Shield basically becomes what Shield is now in the movies, right?
mhm.
But fast forwards like in a big way and stuff. Yeah. I,
There's like a piece missing. Like you kind of rejogged my memory when you brought up the ego thing, or I guess Star Lord or whatever, because he's part of that episode. When in is it the Black Panther episode from the first season where if they took T'Challa instead of Star Lord?
yeah.
My favorite part of that episode is where they cut at the end to Earth and show Earth getting fucking destroyed because no one was there to stop ego, right?
Mhm.
And I wish more of that just existed in these episodes, and I think this one would have been like a good primer for that. Like, what if the Thor in this universe is like a multiversal Avenger, right? He's doing other shit. So what if there for me is like what is the world without that Thor?
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
we still got that world, but we got it from a different perspective. Yeah.
yeah,
I feel yeah. I feel if you're gonna do a sequel to it, do it more like Captain Carter, right? I actually really love Party Thor episode of Thor from the first season. It's one of my favorite ones. Um, because I thought they just got to have a little fun. And just be but just really the cool thing about Party Thor episode is it shows in like through the absence of it, it shows you just how important Loki and Thor's relationship is to each other, right? Because really, the Party Thor episode
yeah, it's a
is
brother episode.
is Loki's not his brother in the same way, right?
Mhm.
Because he's actually living with his real dad and stuff like that, and so you get to see how different Thor is because he doesn't have that brother. And so yeah, I do feel you. It would have been nice if the sequel to that episode was a further expansion on Thor's relationship to that world and stuff. But I kind of thought like poor Seth Green has been like really sidelined a lot in this Marvel universe, even though they constantly use him as their punchline with Howard the Duck. So let him get a story. You know what I mean? Let him be something. Let us see what Howard's gift is. And Howard's gift is just, being Howard. Like it's not he's not a spectacular character, but he does manage
Mhm.
to come through in a pinch, right? And that reminded me of the Howard that we got in that crappy 80s movie too. Like that like somehow Howard just figures it out and he did. He did it by
With the
singing and
power of
dancing.
friendship and
Yeah,
singing.
yeah, exactly. So but yeah, I did end up not disliking Darcy for this episode. I thought it was pretty cute that these two would end up. I don't really want to picture the sex, but I feel like that is very Howard the Duck, right? Because I feel I was saying the same thing when we watched that 80s movie. I don't really want to picture the sex here, but it's happening, I guess. So yeah, I like the episode. It was a cool, weird thing to get on Christmas. Probably the weirdest thing I got on Christmas Day for sure was this episode of the show. And then today's episode was what if the emergence destroyed Earth?
More Eternals love.
Add a plot because it doesn't have it here. What is the plot of this one? I can't even follow the thread of this one.
Earth is
So Tiamat exploded the
destroyed,
Earth and then left,
and then
but somehow all the oxygen
Mysterio.
on Earth is still there.
Yeah, well, Mysterio now runs the planet or his portion of the planet.
You see that jump? So
Yeah,
Tiamat destroyed the planet, and now Mysterio's in charge.
and he has his
Iron Legion, right? He's got
Iron
the Iron
Legion.
Legion.
He has Iron Legion, and he has Vision, White Vision.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
And Riri's the saving the
Yeah.
the savior of humanity.
Is
Like,
it weird to get this episode? Like, we don't really know much about Riri except that she's super smart.
Yeah.
Riri
well,
has a show next year.
She built an iron suit. She did.
She built an iron suit.
This is what I was saying at the beginning of this conversation.
We don't know enough about Riri in the MCU.
I don't want to see her carry an episode of What If before I see her carry her own show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like there's weird implications with this show now, right? Like, so on Earth as it stands, the smartest people was Tony Stark. Then it went to Shuri.
I think Hank Pym was up there too.
Hank Pym's up there, and
Spider-Man is up there.
Spider-Man's up there. Riri's up there, but Shuri is like the top dog on the planet right now, right? And in the movie, she's demonstrated that ability.
I think Shuri's probably the top dog. But
it's so the leap for me is like, I haven't seen Riri do that in the movies or yet, and not that she's not capable of it. It was just
I feel you.
It's like a weird, like, oh, I want to see her do this like in live action.
It's just like what I said is I don't want to see the new Avengers in my What If before I've seen them do new Avengers things live action.
Like, I don't want cooler shit in What If than they're doing. And
I know, and that's what pisses me off. That's what I'm saying. And so, like, I don't want to see Riri creating this amazing superior Iron Man Vision suit before I've seen her do anything cool in the MCU. You know what I mean? And so I might go back and watch these episodes after I've seen more of their stuff later. That's what I was saying. Maybe that Mech Avengers episode will be cooler a year from now or 2 years from now. But like right now, I feel like these are biting off a little bit more than they can chew. With
one of the episodes this season features the Hood as a bad guy, and it's like,
of What If?
Yeah.
Oh man,
the cowboy episode features the Hood. And again, it's like, I want to see these things like normal. Before I get them what ifified. And we haven't really gotten like a proper Riri yet, right? She hasn't made that suit.
Yeah. But, so I think we're in agreement here on what we're saying. It's like it's not we're saying we don't like Riri. We want real Riri before this one.
And it was also, I mean, I get why they did it. They obviously could not get the rights to Jake Gyllenhaal's face, but just like old ass Mysterio.
That Mysterio was booty. I couldn't.
The whole point of Mysterio is a fucking bubble, so put him in the bubble. Damn it!
I did like that the Iron Legion was a hybrid of many robots and then more holograms on top of it. That was kind of cool to like leave you wondering when you get punched in the face by, is it a real one or a fake one? You know, like that was cool. I was just the whole time I'm watching that one, I'm like, so how are they breathing air? Like I don't understand. If the planet exploded, why would we still have atmosphere? Like why? Like,
it's a what if. And what if this happened?
Yeah.
You know, speaking of like, I'm still thinking about the Red Guardian episode. They killed Obadiah Stane at the end of that episode.
Stane, yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that episode because it gave us a little insight on Stane being the one who hired the Russians to kill Howard. Because I don't think that was ever confirmed. You know what I mean? So I thought that's why I like that episode more than
if Stane dies, then does that negate an Iron Man?
Maybe.
Again, like just show me a scene like when they're circling up, just don't put Iron Man in there. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess an Iron Man wouldn't exist if if his dad lived.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I will say the Mysterio episode, I did enjoy that Mysterio tricked Riri into killing all her friends. That's very Mysterio. That is what he did to Wolverine in
that's his whole thing.
That's his thing. Yes, that is his famous thing that he does is he tricks you into murdering your best friends. So
I wasn't. Yeah, we weren't. I liked Riri in the episode. I just don't like that. I have not seen her redo those Riri things. And
that wasn't the only step for me. The other step was like, guys, we skipped we did a lot of what ifs in this episode. That was too many for me. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a bridge too far for how many what like. And who was the Asian woman supposed to be? Was that supposed to be Shang-Chi's aunt or something?
Her sister, right? Or his sister? Not Wenwu. Shit, what's her name?
No.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Ying Nan?
Yeah. That was the sister.
No. That's not the sister.
Who else would it be?
What the hell is a Ying Nan? No. The sister's name is not Ying Nan. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Who is? Yeah, it's Michelle Yeoh. It's supposed to be Michelle Yeoh.
From Guardians 2?
No, sorry, Michelle Yeoh from Shang-Chi. Thanks,
Wicked?
I forgot about that. Yes, from Wicked. Ying Nan is the name of Shang-Chi's aunt.
Oh, you gotta keep them in the same haircut.
Yeah, exactly. Same haircut. I know you're not going to get
the same basic color scheme of their outfit.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that's who it might have been.
Is it voiced by Michelle Yeoh?
No, it's voiced by somebody named Michelle Wong. That's just like, yeah. I won't say anything else. But yeah, so like, and Emily Van Camp was like one of the few people they got to actually reprise her role as the power broker.
Everyone's favorite, the power broker.
And at this point, I'm just like over her. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. Remember how charming she was when Steve kissed her, and like
she's got to come back in.
Yeah, she's coming back for sure.
Right?
And Tessa Thompson was just really not used in any cool way at all.
See, I felt like that with the first episode, where like they got Oscar Isaac to do that voice, but it's like for what?
I know, right? Yeah.
And then again, you're showing his face, so it's like I'd rather just take a good Moon Knight with no face.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to know it's Oscar Isaac. I just need to know it's Moon Knight.
Yeah. So the coolest thing we got about this episode, though, I did appreciate was, and it's a double-edged sword for sure, is that we got the little nod to the thing that makes the What If TV show special and different from the comic, is that the TV show likes to have a plot line.
Yeah, there's an overarching thing with some of the episodes.
Yeah. Well, usually it's all, and we just don't see how they're all connected until the end. And I think the cool thing for this episode was he couldn't stand watching Riri about to die again, because he's seen this countless times. And he finally did that thing that Uatu is known for doing. In fact, he's quite famous for doing, is he's only supposed to watch, but Uatu never just watches. He always has to intervene and give people a little tip or give them a heads up, or in this case, just say fight. And I'm sorry if an otherworldly voice just started booming in my ears, fight. I'm probably gonna listen, because I'm like, oh my God, is God alive? Is God's got my back on this one, you know? And then Riri won, you know. So I think the funny part is cut to a bunch of watchers, one named The Eminence, voiced by Jason Isaacs. I love Jason Isaacs. And they're like, sir, he did it again. Like, and they're basically narking on Uatu, and they're like, all right, he knows he's not supposed to do it. So now what we're gonna do is watch him. And so that's
like, is there a watcher jail?
I don't know, but the Watchmen. No, but I do know that this has happened in the comics before. I'm pretty sure like Uatu definitely gets in trouble for the amount of times he intervenes in the comics as well. So I'm excited to see like where they go with that in this, and I will accept whatever version of it they decide to show us. I don't need it to be anything specific, but it's nice to see a repercussion. That does mean that they're waiting for him to do it again, though. So he's probably going to do it again next week, or tomorrow, in tomorrow's episode. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I like it enough to watch for the next 3 days, but I'm kind of happy.
It makes it easy that they just come out back to back, because we're not. They're all here. We're not waiting for.
And I
like we
think they
were
know that
before.
they're not good enough to hold us for week to week to week to week. You know what I mean? Like they would be getting dunked on a lot harder if
I'm
this wasn't.
happy they exist, but I'm also happy that they're not going to exist.
Yeah,
We're having a good run, and it's. I mean, is it really over? We're getting a whole series based on what if here soon.
I wish they would have found a way to like take it a little slower. You know what I mean? Like they didn't need to keep cranking them out as fast as they were, and they didn't need to keep like I wish they would have waited like until there was more story. You know, I like all of phase 4 and 5 is done, and then like okay, now we're gonna tell phase because like what ifs we got was post phase 3, right? So we got to do what ifs for 3 phases of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And like these what ifs that we got are like, I don't even know what phase they're supposed
I
to
don't
take
think
place
it's that though. I think it's just like it's just the what ifs got a little over ambitious.
in. Yes,
Um,
sure.
to me, that feels lazier because then you can contrive a story based on the what ifs that you already said.
Yeah.
Whereas if you change one what if, this the story can be, to me it's a little more interesting because we're constantly seeing how the choices that we got to witness, were the correct ones, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like it's like I don't really know what went wrong in this universe, but it's like a lot of
Right.
shit happened.
Exactly. Like they're supposed to make you feel happy about the version of the story you know, and also like feel a sense of tragedy from the alternate version that we get, you know,
Mhm.
or a sense of optimism, depending on how you want to flavor it.
Yeah.
But I will say these are just yeah. I've come away from most of these episodes not feeling anything. And I think that's my problem,
Mhm.
right? It's like I don't feel emotionally tied to the versions of these characters that we're getting now. With the exception of Agatha.
Birdie.
I liked Agatha. I was like, yeah, this tracks. I could see Agatha doing this, you know, like this works for me. And in fact, we've already seen that Agatha actually was a celebrity for some time, like in the in the
Yeah.
story. Like we learned that she did do things like that. So I get it. I was like, this tracks. This tracks for Agatha. So that was the one that I really, really enjoyed. Um, Everything else is just like, well, thank God there's only 3 days left. You know, so there you go. That's our mid-season review of What If. And then really quick, we can just do since we have been talking about Creature Commanders on the show, we can just
Yeah.
talk really quickly about the most 2 recent episodes because we didn't talk about it last week. There was a Weasel episode last week. What did you think of that one?
I'm like Crystal, so I don't.
Oh,
I didn't want him to be sympathized. I don't. I don't care how they all got there in prison.
fair enough. And
And
if you don't care about them, then yeah, then these episodes aren't going to do anything for you. But
it's like a weird the new. You need to watch, like, see how I explain this. The universe building story so far in Creature Commandos is not much in the grand scheme of things, because all the episode or most of the episodes are flashbacks. They're they're based in flashbacks, and
don't forget
whatever.
they
Hmm.
they tried a robot as a human and found him guilty.
They tried a robot as a human and found him guilty.
That's pretty crazy.
It's crazy that they put a robot with ammunition in jail and not take out the ammunition.
There's a lot of crazy things, but I think the world building is there. It's just not heavy necessarily in every episode.
I Yeah, I don't know. I don't love Weasel. I'm kind of like, he's part of the ickiness that is like the leftover from the Suicide Squad that persists in this show.
Yeah, I get that, but I also think it's interesting that we got to meet. There's like a lawyer that like she's made it her life's goal
Mm-hmm.
to get Weasel,
Weasel lawyer.
released. I think that's kind of cool. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's like that there's this animal rights human whatever meta thing that he is,
And it's Linda
And he has legal
Cardellini.
representation.
It's Linda
Is it
Cardellini
really?
who played
Oh.
Velma on in the Scooby-Doo movies that James Gunn wrote as well.
And then, well, what about? I mean, what is your? Are you a fan of the Weasel episode?
Yeah, and also John Economos was in it for a minute. I thought that was kind of cool. Like you either love or hate.
But it's gross. Like it's fine that he's in it, right? Because they're very clearly there. It's a sequel to that show. But they're just so. He shows up, right, and he has a broken arm because they broke his arm in Peacemaker, right, at the end of that show, and he just has to remind everybody, yeah, I broke my arm. Like doing
at this point, I'm just accepting it. All right, like I thought we bitched about it so that we don't.
I know, but anymore. I don't like them to like. Just let him have a broken arm. I don't need like the 2-minute story explaining, or it's not even. It's like 3 seconds. But,
all right, fine.
You get what I'm saying? Like, just let it exist.
I get it. You don't like the Weasel episode. How about the Iron Pot? Do you like the Iron Pot? That was this week's episode that came out today.
Today's episode, yeah.
Today's episode.
I liked it.
Frankenstein is nursed to health by a new friend. Later, Flag and Frankenstein team up to disprove Cersei's vision about the princess.
I liked it better because it was a little more story forward or current story. We got some flashbacks of
a lot of flashback of
Frankenstein. His murder of that old woman was tragic.
That was sad, man.
I don't know what the takeaway is from that though.
I think I figured out what the takeaway is from it. Like, so we're getting backstories of all these characters, right? But the trick is with Frankenstein. Frankenstein is a very well-known character. So there's always got to be a spin on it when like the comic books do it, right? So like Marvel has their own version of Frankenstein and Dracula and Wolfman, all that. And DC's got their own clearly. And so DC, I think the stamp that we're putting on this version of Frankenstein, because we've already got the stamp put on Bride of Frankenstein, right? Like that was quite a sexy tale to her backstory that I did not plan on watching in my cartoon. But Frankenstein, I think everybody knows that Frankenstein's at some point has to learn his lesson, right? He has to learn his lesson. I don't think this one's learned his lesson yet. And I think that's what we're working with here. We're working with a Frankenstein that has a very low level emotional maturity, right? He has figured out how to use big words. He reads a lot. He's very well read, but somehow he has not learned about the value of life entirely. And I think it's a really cool moment he has with that blind woman, the gypsy, I think Bogda was her name, when he realizes she's blind and he tells her like the beauty of the earth is the only thing worth living for. If I couldn't see it, I would kill myself, and she has a moment with him where she helps him. It seems like she's helping him grow. And then we learn later on he has not grown. He's not grown. And I think, but we fast forward to him with Flag, and it's clear that he still has not learned.
Yeah.
He's like, so, his arc is very clear. We're lucky if he finally learns the value of life by the end of this show. But it does make him interesting because it's a Frankenstein that's going to let you down consistently, right? He's not redeemable yet. I mean, I guess that means he is redeemable. But you know what I mean? He is not a redeemed character yet, is what I mean to say. So that makes him interesting, at least.
I will say, like, none of the creature commandos, like, I'm not excited for any of them. Like, they're I'm not excited to see any of them to see in live action.
I at least appreciate how 5 episodes of this show have made it very clear to us that you do not mess with Dr. Phosphorus. Like, that guy can annihilate you way easy. Like, I like that. Like, I like that we've gotten that. And same with the Bride, right? The Bride does not F around. She was killing people left and right in that show. So I like that even the soldiers of Polikistan or whatever, they're like, just worry about the blue one and the skeleton man, you know, like that. And it's true, because the rest of them weren't really a problem, right? Like they weren't really doing anything. So that's funny. That's funny to me. But yeah, it's a show that is it's building to something, and I think it's cool that we finally got a Clayface in this. I thought it was really funny that we got Stephanie Beatrice in 2 episodes of the show. Like, and you're like, whoa, Stephanie Beatrice is going to be a character in the DCU, and then you're like, nope, it's just Clayface. Oh, never mind. You know, so some actors just don't get to exist outside of this show, and that's fine too. I do love seeing her in all of my animated shows. She's great. But yeah, Clayface, it was cool. I was waiting for more Alan Tudyk, and he barely talks.
He did a lot of yelling and
Lots of grunting, and I'm pretty sure he did not kill Rick Flag, right? Like, or did he?
Considering that Rick Flag's in Superman, I'm gonna guess he's not dead.
Right,
gonna guess.
I mean, is there something? I mean, I thought the cool thing about this is at least we're building towards a conspiracy, right? Somebody hired Clayface,
yeah,
to convince the government that there's a credible threat happening in Polikistan or whatever. So, you know, so there's somebody's being puppeted around, and so I would like to get to the end of that and be like, oh, okay, that's why Creature Commandos was so important. So I still have faith in them. It's just, unfortunately, we got to wait like 3 freaking weeks to find out the punchline.
Well, next week's probably going to be, it looks like it's a Dr. Phosphorus episode, so we get some backstory there. For me, it's like, okay, how does this tie into Superman now? Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like,
see, you're already doing
like,
it. You're doing the thing.
We
can't have a Clayface movie because of you.
Like, show me Superman. We already know who he is. Bring him in.
But
I'll take. You know what? I'll take Batman's. I'll take Batman's foot. Show me Batman's foot.
We saw Superman and Batman last week.
He did. He had Wonder Woman.
Yeah. They were dead on pikes, but we still saw them. There's
just something missing with this show for me. That's like
You know what? I'm kind of excited at the idea of that thing filling the void within the next 3 weeks. So let's check back in 3 weeks on this one and see where we're at. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it can do. All I gotta say is it's a ballsy thing to put an animated version of the writer on the intro of a cartoon. So make it worth it. Make it worth it.
Yeah, it better be good. And
I
don't want to say the show's not living up to the hype, but I don't think for me it is. It's not that doesn't mean it's a bad show. It's just like we talked about it last episode, right? It's a choice to kick off your universe with this.
Yeah.
And at least for me, you'd want it to be. I kind of equate it to WandaVision, right? WandaVision was their kickoff to from movies to TV, right? And that show was doing something. That show was doing something out of the gate. And I don't feel like this Creature Commandos has had that type of like level of entertainment value, or at least for me.
Yeah, I get you. And it is like, I don't like saying this, but I feel like since it's relevant, since I already said it about What If, I don't like to diminish animation ever. But I do feel like if the whole draw is you're using the same actors in live action as you are in animated, I feel like the beauty of What If season 1 was that like I was seeing the characters that I was familiar with now animated, and that was a cool thing to see.
Dude, they did most of the late work and got the voices. I mean, it's inverse, but it was true. And this,
And this, we don't really get to see. I want to see them. You know what I mean? I want to see them
Yeah.
in real life. And I think that's what I feel like I'm being robbed of right now. Like,
I feel it. Like there's cool sequences in the show that
would be super expensive if they ran.
well,
If they
yeah,
were live
they're a
action.
cool spectacle, but the minute I'm starting thinking about it, wait, part of the whole plan is like this is gonna be in live action. And I just can't see it, you know?
Yeah, I get
And
you.
like
I
it
feel you.
seems it's like watching. I mean, it's literally like an anime fight, right? Like you can't. It's not something that translates well into live action.
Yeah.
And
So is it going
like
to maintain the same tone, right?
the
Like,
tone, like and the violence, and
yeah,
like you're priming me for one thing, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to cast that check.
yeah, exactly. I feel you. I agree there. For right now, I think we're on the same page, and so I'm optimistic though. I maybe more so than you, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's we've given enough time to these two things. That was probably more time than they've been on the air this week. You know, like no, it's good. Like I'm excited to have something to watch tomorrow and the next day, and so. But like these are not my favorite thing that I'm doing this week. You know, like as we're hanging out at home during the holidays, it's a thing I'm doing while I'm eating breakfast or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but at least they gave us something to talk about for the week. So, and I'm happy to come back next week, wrap it up on what if, and then possibly also we could talk about the whole year that we just had with nerdy content and see where you and I rank those things. If that sounds like something fun to do in the new year.
Yeah,
The
let's do it.
enthusiasm,
Let's do it.
ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There we go. All right. And I think with that said, I think thank you for everybody who tuned in. Feel free to comment on anything that we said. We know sometimes we have takes that you don't like, and that's fine. Just let us know how much you don't like them. It's cool. But yeah, follow, like, subscribe, do all those things, and take it away, Ricky.
Tune in next week, and with that, true believers. Enough said.